Without a doubt, this is the best homemade nougat you'll ever try. A super easy recipe with that. Nostalgic childhood flavor. Here in the pot, I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar, then I add 3/4 of a cup of water. I dissolve the sugar well in the water, mixing carefully. I am using a hand whisk, remembering that the heat is still off. Now, I turn on the heat and let this mixture come to a boil. I'll wait until it turns golden without stirring. As soon as it reaches that shade, I add 3/4 of a cup of honey. Now, I let this mixture boil again until it thickens. To check if it has reached the exact consistency, I do a water test. I put a little of this syrup into a plate with cold water. If it hardens quickly, that means it's at the ideal stage. As we can see, it's perfect. Now, I turn off the heat and set this syrup aside. Meanwhile, in a bowl, I place 2 egg whites. I beat them until they reach a stiff peak. The egg whites are now well beaten, firm, and airy. Now I slowly add the hot syrup while continuously beating. This process cannot be interrupted to ensure the right texture. After beating well, the mixture is smooth and glossy. Now I add 2 cups of roasted skinless peanuts. I mix well to distribute the ingredients evenly. Using a spatula or spoon, I stir until it becomes creamy. Look at this beautiful and consistent texture. Everything is well combined. Now let's move on to the next step. In the mold, I placed parchment paper to prevent sticking. I sprinkled a little cornstarch to make unmolding easier. Make sure to use every bit of the mixture. Now, I take another piece of parchment paper, cover the surface, and press gently to level it. Done. Now, the nougat is shaped. I put it in the refrigerator and let it harden. For about 2 hours, I have taken it out of the fridge, and now it's time to unmold. I carefully remove the parchment paper from the top. Then, I gently peel off the parchment paper from the bottom. See how easily it comes off thanks to the cornstarch. Next, I start cutting the nougat into smaller pieces. The peanuts may offer some resistance, but with patience, it works. Cut all the way through and repeat the process with the rest. This way, all the pieces are evenly sized. Now, I also cut in the opposite direction to form squares. Carefully, I finish all the cuts so they are nice and even. This part requires a little more attention, but it's worth it. Now, all that's left is to finish and serve. With everything cut, let's add a special touch to the presentation. Look at this incredible texture, simply perfect. And now, I finish by dusting powdered milk on top. This will give it an even more beautiful and delicious finish. Now, just enjoy this homemade delight.